and welcome to Getting to Good Enough, a podcast to help you let go of perfectionism so you can do more of what you love. I'm Shannon Wilkinson, a life coach in Portland, Oregon. I am a recovering perfectionist who's getting better at good enough.
And I'm Janine Adams, a certified professional organizer in St. Louis, and I'm lucky enough to be naturally good at good enough.
And today we are going to be talking about perfectionism and money.
Fine. We get to talk about something everybody loves talking about, money.
Yes. Everybody loves to talk about money.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite topics.
Yeah.
To talk about. Yeah, right. But it will be, I'm looking forward
randomly.
to this. Yeah, I talk about money all the time. No, I'm just like everybody else. I don't talk about money much unless I have to.
Right.
But this will be fun.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, and I think that's part of what makes this such a good topic is that it is difficult to talk about. And I think a lot of people sort of feel badly about how they handle money or their money situation. And I think and don't really talk to anybody about it. And I think in so many cases it's really perfectionism rearing its ugly head that prevents you from doing the things that could help you feel more comfortable and confident around money.
That sounds about right to me, and I don't think I'm a perfectionist, but I certainly, as you know, have my share of uncomfortable feelings about money, which we need not get into today, but maybe another time. Who knows actually what we'll get into today.
I know. Well, you have shared on the podcast in the past that you don't keep up with your bookkeeping as much as you might like to. Although I think since we talked about it maybe last time, I think you were doing more of it than you had been.
It was, we talked, it wasn't last time, but a few weeks ago we talked about it, and I said, yeah, you inspired me to work on it 15 minutes a day. And from that day on, I worked on it 15 minutes a day until I went out of town. And then, boom, my schedule, my routine got disrupted. So I haven't worked on it much in the last week, but I'm definitely honing in on being caught up. And then, and also I have been doing some entering as it comes in, some.
Oh, well, so you're still doing something.
Yes. And I'm
That's
also
good. doing
the you need a budget thing. So I'm doing that regularly.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about money.
Love that. So you need a budget is a software program that you can either use that has a web interface online, or the older version is a software program that you actually download. Which I started. Is that what you use?
No, I don't think you can. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it's available for new people.
I don't think you can buy it anymore. Yeah. But that's what I started with on YNAB, and then when the new version came out, the online version, I switched to that because everything automatically downloads into it from your bank account once you connect them, and that was a game changer for me. Mm-hmm. It made it so much simpler. But I think we've talked about it before. We'll have to look and see what episode that we got into specifics, but it's a software program that helps you budget, but it does budgeting a little bit different than we're normally taught how to budget. Like, instead of sort of figuring out your budget and how you want to spend your money before you've earned your money, when money comes in, then you allocate it in your budget. So they call it giving every dollar a job. And it's a little bit different way of thinking about it. But once you do, it feels very liberating to me. I don't know. You've started working with it much more recently than me, Janine. How does it feel for you?
I like it a lot. I need to have a conversation with you about it because I'm still having a few struggles, but I think I like it a lot when I have a lot of money, and I like it less when I don't have a lot of money. And since my income is so variable, that makes it challenging. Which is, I realize it was challenging anyway. I mean, income being variable is challenging no matter how I'm keeping track of it. And this way is definitely, once I get it all together, I feel like there are a couple of fundamentals I'm not fully yet understanding. Once I'm in the groove, I can see how it's especially helpful for people whose income is variable. So, so I like it, and it does. But it does mean I'm interacting with money every day, which is great.
Yeah,
I'm thinking about my expenditures.
Right, which is part of both the problem and the solution is that if you have a tendency to get into sort of perfectionist thinking or wanting to get it right, whether or not you think you're a perfectionist, that can make it difficult to do anything, and that it gets you stuck.
So when I answered your question by saying I don't really know exactly that I'm using it correctly, I revealed something there, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah. That was not a setup. I didn't think of it as being perfectionist about it, but I feel like there are missing pieces. But I am proceeding with it. It's not. I'm not stalled out or anything.
Well, and that's what I think is most important is that even though you don't fully get it 100%, you're using it anyway. Mm-hmm. And that, and it's, and I think sometimes that's half the battle is recognizing, like, sometimes you just have to get started and use it to figure out how to use it best for you.
Right. When we talked about it before, it was because I had said, I have a book here from the library I'm going to read, and then I'll get started. And you said, it's not the kind of thing that book reading is going to help so much on. You're better off just starting. And you were right. And you revealed that with YNAB, you can do a do-over, which was very liberating.
Yes. Oh, yeah, fresh start. It's the best. But I think, your experience is such a good example of that. Like this is a situation where you wanted to figure it out first. Like you wanted to do it the right way. Mm-hmm. And you decided to go ahead and get started with it, even if you didn't fully understand how it works. And even though you still don't feel like you fully have all the pieces in place, you're still doing it anyway. And it's giving you a benefit.
Right. All of those things are true. Yep. Yay.
Yeah. So, and this is not to say that you have to use software, you have to use YNAB or QuickBooks or Quicken or anything like that. I think it's just such a good example of how perfectionism can keep you from moving forward at all. When, particularly with money, you do need to pay a little bit of attention to it.
Right. I just thought of an example. It is balancing your checkbook. I think some people feel like it's really important to balance your checkbook to the penny. And if you don't, and that's wrong. And I think sometimes those people have a problem something happens and they can't balance their checkbook. So they just stop dealing with their checkbook at all. I've seen that. And whereas I don't balance my checkbook. There was a time in my life where I did, but it's been decades probably, and I'm, getting by.
Yeah, I don't even have a checkbook anymore.
Good point.
I do have some checks, but even if I have to write someone a check, I almost always do it through bill pay through my bank. I write very, very, very few checks by hand anymore.
Right.
Oh, right. You write checks for your business.
Right. I write checks. I go through, I write a lot of checks, which is weird.
Yeah.
For a modern person, but it works for me.
Yeah. You're like an anachronism.
Yeah, I am. I could pay them by online or whatever, but I really like handing my team members a check at the end of the session because I like
which
getting
is
a check.
nice.
Yeah. But yeah, most people aren't worrying about balancing their checkbook. But I do have clients for whom that's an issue, and I encourage them to just go ahead and make a correction that you don't know. Get yourself in balance through an entry, and then proceed as normal.
Right. Well, and there is the electronic equivalent of balancing your checkbook, which is like with YNAB and other accounts, you can reconcile the account.
Right.
And to make sure that what you have online matches what you have in the bank. And, it's worth keeping up with that. It's certainly easier to do when you're doing that frequently. But again, I've had situations where it gets off and I just do, if I can, I allot myself a certain amount of time to try to fix the problem. And if I can't, then I just make a entry to correct it and go from there.
Right. That's perfect.
Like you said.
Perfect. That's excellent. I think it's a good imperfect approach.
It's a perfectly imperfect approach.
Right.
But this topic I think is timely too because it's tax time.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and that is an easy place to get caught up in perfectionism, and it feels like a really big deal. Like you have to get it right. There's a lot weighing on it. And while certainly you want to be as accurate as possible and you want to have good documentation and, this isn't the place to be making guesses. You don't have to do it perfectly. I just had an experience with my husband last night that was sort of funny where been working on the we have rental property and so I was working on those and he thought that he might have some receipts for cash purchases that he had made when fixing things or something and I asked him if he had any and he said, nah, I don't think I do, and even if I did, it's probably doesn't total to more than $50, so I'm not going to worry about it. And I think in the past that might have got me a little wound up, but I was like, oh, great, you're right. It's only $50. What that would mean in terms of a deduction is so minimal. It's not worth spending time on.
Right. And when you said that, my eyes got big. I thought, he said that? Slap him.
Yeah.
But no, you're absolutely right, and I need to bear that in mind when I talk to my husband about similar things, because he has a couple of Schedule C's, right? He has a couple of consulting type things he does, and he does not keep track of them like I do in my stuff. And so he's like, yeah, whatever. But but you're right. We're not talking giant numbers here. We want to minimize our tax burden, certainly. I mean, but
yes.
we don't have to wring every penny out of it or make ourselves miserable trying to.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and one of the things that this made me realize is that my filing system for this sort of thing is a little bit easier for me to use than his filing system for this sort of thing. And so he's agreed to let me, he's using Freedom Filers, which we love, which Janine turned us on to. But the way he has them set up sort of makes no sense to me. So I'm going to rearrange them a little bit so that there's no looking for documents. Everything will be where it needs to be next year when it's this time.
Oh, that's good. And good for Mike for saying, sure, go ahead, rearrange it so it's better for you. Probably for him as well. Oh, that's terrific.
Yeah. Yeah, but I think there's just so many situations like that where it's hard to get started if you aren't 100% sure what you're doing and if it will be useful around money.
And the thing that just popped into my head is things like refinancing a mortgage, which could be a huge tax savings for people.
Right.
can feel like such a huge thing, because you feel like there are going to be all these things that you have to do right, or you're going to mess it all up and it'll be a huge waste of time, or I don't even know. I mean, there's so much around that I remember years ago, you refinanced a mortgage, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. And you did it with like, oh yeah, by the way, I just refinanced my mortgage. Whereas if I were working on that, especially back in the day, you would have heard about it for weeks before I actually did anything toward refinancing my mortgage, because I had so much anxiety around all that stuff. And it doesn't have to be hard.
Right.
Especially if you keep good records, or good enough records.
Well, and I think that's the thing, is good enough records, and it makes such a difference that if you can sort of put your hands on what you need, and somehow not having what you need ramps up the anxiety, at least for me.
Oh yeah, that's, I think, and for me too, like this fear that I'm not going to be able to find that document that is needed, when in fact nowadays pretty much just, if you can find your password for the login for your financial institution, you can find what you need.
Yeah, and just let me give a shout out to LastPass. So you don't have to remember you can have a very secure password that you don't have to remember. I love it.
Yeah, that's great. I don't know, I have a distrust of it, so I don't use it, but Barry loves it, or he uses something like it anyway.
Yeah, there are several different, I think, Dashlane, 1Password, things like that. And I don't know if the other options have this, but LastPass has one where you can share passwords. So Mike and I have a shared folder where we put like our financial logins and our entertainment logins, because we need to get at the money and we need to get at the Netflix. If you have those two things, then we're good.
That's excellent. Well, that's so smart too. That's, I mean, because you know what, if something were to happen to one of you, the fact that you have access to those shared those passwords is really important.
Well, and I will also say that it has an option where you can give someone, and I can't remember how it works, but we set it up. So presumably, should we ever have to use it, knock wood, we won't. It'll be obvious, but it has a setup where you can name someone as a person who can access your file. And so I think you have to put in some identifying information, like maybe a cell phone number and an email and a birth date or something like that. And then if the person, if something happens, they can enter this information and get access to all of your passwords in an emergency. I can't remember exactly how it works, and I sort of feel like maybe I should take a look back at it, but but it does have this in place so that someone else, because like I have my phone is my face, and you can only open up my phone with my face.
Well, you can have digits, right?
I do have a passcode, but like on my computer, it's I have a password, but everything is locked down because it opens with my watch or with Touch ID.
Right.
And so because that's so easy to do, I have it locked down so I never have to worry about it.
Right. I got to say, that's one of my favorite features of my new Mac is it opening with my watch. Because I always had mine locked down too, just, because it's smart, but I got so tired of typing in my password. And I find that I apparently have very indistinct fingerprints, because I always have a hard time with the Touch ID, or on back when I had an earlier iPhone, it almost never opened with my fingerprint. And when I went to get my TSA, did my interview for my TSA pre-check at the airport, they couldn't get any fingerprints on the optical scanner. So I thought
how have you not started a life of crime, Janine?
Yeah, I know, right? That's how honest I am. They were able to get a thumbprint. But,
oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was a little panicky for a little while because I really wanted that TSA pre-check. But Yeah. So that we digress. But that's what I'm really happy to hear about that LastPass feature. I'm pretty sure that's what Barry uses. So I want to get him to enable that so that I can get his stuff if I need to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'll be guessing at his password, which isn't so good.
Right. Because, nowadays it's like too many guesses and it really gets locked down.
Right. Exactly. But that's an important conversation to have. With that, I have a client whose husband passed away unexpectedly quite young and recently. And what was it we were looking for in the house? It was, can't remember if it was his laptop. No, it wasn't his laptop. She had his laptop, but she couldn't open it. She couldn't get into it. Oh. So any scrap of paper we saw that had a password written on it, we put aside for her in hopes that it was the password.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So, those are difficult conversations too. I mean, not necessarily with your husband, but, conversations surrounding money, surrounding death are tough ones to have.
Yeah.
And also tough ones to face. I mean, not the conversation, but the steps that need to be taken. And
right.
It's also important not to get too perfectionistic on that.
Yeah, maybe we could do a whole episode on that.
on death. That'll get all
That's
the
happy.
On it. Yeah.
Everybody will want to listen to that one.
Right.
But it is, and you've blogged about this and about like what a difference it made. We're totally digressing on this.
Yeah, I'm sure we can bring it back to money. Everything comes back to money.
Yeah, it does. But, like having made a bunch of decisions with your parents before your mom passed away.
Oh, right. Yeah. Absolutely. And my dad and I went down to the bank and got me on his bank account and all that stuff too. So.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did that with my mom too, and it was that was something that she had been putting off for some time, and she and my dad had talked about putting everything in a family trust and all the stuff, and then they never did it, and then she did do it after he passed away, and so luckily all of that was in place before she had to move into an assisted living facility, and before the dementia made it too difficult for her to handle her own money. So everything was in place for me to take over very smoothly.
Wow, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's important stuff.
But it all sort of has the same factors of like not being sure what to do, wanting to get it right, and ending up feeling sort of paralyzed about how to move forward.
Right.
And so, I think figuring out what some small steps are can help you move forward in a way that doesn't feel too scary.
Mm-hmm. And like in organizing and in so many other things, when it comes to money, there's no one right way to do any of it.
Right.
So we all have different ways we go about organizing our taxes even. And it's just doing something that makes sense to you that you can keep up with is really, really helpful. And I agree with you that breaking it down into small steps to get started is so good.
Yeah. Well, and you just brought up such a good point, is that, there wouldn't be so many gazillions of accountants and tax lawyers and stuff if there was just one way to do it. Like,
right. I never thought of it that way. Yeah.
Me neither until you said that. And it's like, oh yeah, there are a lot of different ways to interpret the rules. The other missing piece is, why is it important to you? And I think we probably talked about that, but I can't remember why you were interested in using YNAB anyway.
Oh, I can't remember. I think because you're highly influential, and you had been raving about it for all this time. Oh, I think it was because I had some credit card debt I wanted to get rid of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and I think maybe it was to figure out how to deal with a sort of an uneven income flow.
Right. And I did just pay off a credit card. So boom.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yes, yeah. But, it's interesting because you just said, figure out why it's important to you. And I feel like it's been a couple of weeks since we've said that.
I think it has been. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
That's our core message.
Right. Yeah.
But it's good to keep in mind, like with your taxes, I want to complete my taxes in a timely and reasonably accurate way, and they're never going to be perfect. Mm-hmm. So if I can do them timely and reasonably accurate, that's good enough.
That's right. And if you can, or if I can, let good enough be the standard so that I'm actually filing them April 15th rather than getting that extension which feels like such a sweet solution, but in fact is just delaying the inevitable and costing you money. I mean, says the person who did it last year. That's my goal. Is this year I set a goal of getting them filed on time, because last year I did the extension because I did it because I figured there was no possible way it was right, because I was doing it on TurboTax as I'd had for years, and the difference between last year and the year before was so huge. I thought I must be screwing it up clearly, so I hired a CPA, and nope. $700 later from his fee, I learned that I've been doing it right. So it was just a bad combination of financial circumstances that meant that we owed more taxes last year, and so putting off for 4 months, during which time I did not work on it. I just delayed finding a CPA. Actively procrastinated on it, just cost me more money. I'm glad I'm going with CPA again. Oh, that was not a regret. The regret was waiting until October to deal with it.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, and that's a really tough one, because if you do owe taxes or have the potential to owe taxes, the extension isn't for paying your taxes. The extension is for filing your tax return. So it's, if you think you're going to owe taxes but can't get your taxes filed in time, then you can make a payment and then file your taxes, so you don't get hit with penalties and interest, because that adds up pretty fast.
It sure does. But I didn't do that because the previous year I had gotten a fat refund. And this year I was going to owe thousands. So I thought, I can't possibly owe.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense.
Well, and you had the cover there in that I'm guessing you probably paid a similar amount in estimated or whatever as you did the previous year. And so then that should have protected you from penalties.
But not interest.
But probably not interest. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, like, last year, I do my mom's taxes. Well, I get everything ready and take it to an accountant. And it was a little complicated last year. And I ended up filing an extension. But I knew for sure that she was getting a refund, and that there was absolutely no way that we would owe, and so I didn't stress about it, and I just filed for an extension, and then got them done later. And I may end up filing for an extension this year, because I have to figure out the basis on the house she lived in for 40 years.
Oh.
Yeah. Which I have actively been procrastinating on since selling it last summer.
Right. When you filed for an extension last year for her, when did you end up filing the taxes?
I think September, maybe.
Oh, well, that's good.
I know it was some weeks before they were due. I don't even remember when they were due. Are they due in October or September?
October 15th.
Oh, you know what? I thought that they were due September 15th. So I prepared them to be, done in time. And I always like to give my accountant a couple of weeks to work on them. So right. I think I just had the date wrong in my mind, which, worked out for everyone's best interest, really.
Well, that was very honest of you. I was feeling very impressed that you did it a month early.
Oh, no. That wasn't on purpose.
Well, so the message here, I guess, is try to adopt a good enough attitude around money to make your life a little easier.
Yeah. Well, and to pay attention to what you're trying to achieve and why it's important to you. Mm-hmm. What will be the benefit for you of paying attention to your money? Do you have a habit of, I think it just struck me. It's sort of like the person whose home you go into that's cluttered and you say, oh, I bet you're a perfectionist. And I think it's probably the same thing with money. Like if someone struggles with having overdraft fees or, late payments or something, it could be because they're a perfectionist.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's interesting. Huh. Yeah. It's a good analogy.
Yeah. So if that's, if that sounds like you as you're listening, think about how nice it would be to feel like you are on top of your money, and what are some small steps you could do to move in that direction. And let it be a process. You don't have to figure it all out in one day.
Mm-hmm. And know that there's no one right way to do it.
That's right. Right. Yeah. All right. Anything else to say about money, Janine?
No, but I will say it feels nice to hear you say, get in touch with what's important to you. That made me feel nice inside.
Oh, good. It does feel nice. And also, like when I really take the time to do that, it lets me relax a little bit and not, like the thing I was saying that Mike said yesterday, like, if there is, it's less than $50. And like there was a little leap between that and the acceptance of that. And that little leap was over the part of, I just want this to be easy and I want to get it done. Mm-hmm. So I can accept that. That's mm-hmm. fine. It wasn't like he said, oh, I don't have any of the receipts for the repairs I made. That's a right. totally different thing.
Right. Yeah.
So it just helps you have a little perspective.
Yeah. And it's nice for marital harmony.
Yes.
Yeah. That's excellent.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we want to hear from you. I suspect that our listeners probably have some questions or thoughts about how they handle money or don't handle it, and we would love to hear from you. So you can ask us a question, share a tip you have, point us in the direction of a helpful resource. Leave a message at 413-424-GTGE. That's 4843. You can head over to our website and comment on the show notes at gettingtogoodenough.com. And you'll also find all of our social media links there too, on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. So for now, this is Shannon Wilkinson in Portland, Oregon.
And Janine Adams in St. Louis, Missouri.
And we hope that good enough is getting easier for you. I'm kind of all jazzed up to finish my taxes now.
Go for it.